based. Now, what is meant by experience-based estimations? Any guesses? What do you mean by experience-based estimations?
Based on the previous project they're working, they schedule the new project, the estimation.
Okay, good one. Any other attempts? For an example, I used to travel. Okay, so I traveled from Chennai to Tirupati. So it takes around, if you ask me how much time it was take to reach from Chennai to Tirupati, I'll say that hey, probably it will take 3 or 15 minutes. Or if at all I asked you, hey, why it will take 3 hours 15 minutes? Bus from here it is 150 kilometers. From 150 kilometers, if I have been traveled with the speed of 60 to 70, I can easily cover it of 2 hours 15 minutes. And then I'll have, when I need to go out of Chennai, right? So now I'll be having a little bit traffic, so which it will take 30 minutes of time. So that's the reason I'll be reaching Tirupati by 3 or 15 minutes or 3.5 hours. I'll be reaching there. So now how I'm saying this? Because I already traveled many a times. So now when I'm traveling on this, I can understand that, hey, this would be my time taken for me. So that based upon my experience, I given this particular tentative estimates. Now, when there is a project, for an example, there is a retail domain project. Retail domain project means that would be easier. That's the reason I usually take that example. Now, for example, the Flipkart, or you have an Amazon. Now, for this particular website, now when I wanted to test this one, I know that, hey, I'll be having these modules, module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, like this. I have these particular modules. To test these particular modules, in my past when I have been tested this one, it's taken 20 hours of time. And when I tested this one, it take 10 hours of time. And when I tested this one, it take 30 hours of time. How I'm giving this particular estimates is, I do have strong domain knowledge. And based upon my previous experience, how much time it was taken. So the domain knowledge plus the experience, based upon this, I'll derive some tentative estimates. Tentative means not accurate, but nearing estimates, which we will be trying to give on. So this is called tentative estimates on this. So now I can clearly understand that. So here also you see it. I know the direction and the way to Tirupati. So that I know the way, and I know that it takes this much of time. So now based upon this, I'll be present. I'll be saying that, hey, this is what the domain, and then this is what the I know that particular directions, and I know already I have been experienced in traveling that way, so that I can derive that particular time. So now the same way here also will be deriving this, but the accuracy of this one would be very less. It's around 50 to 60% of accuracy only you'll be getting it. Even this 50 to 60 is also very rare, because you don't know the contingency. See now, based upon, see now, for an example, now you said this. Now suddenly there is a problem. I got my flat tire, or my engine broke down, or there is a road work going on, so they have been redirected into other direction. Those are unexpected things, right? There might be here also new functionalities have been added. So those all diversions would be there. So that's where this particular experience-based technique will go. Always, it is not so dependent. So always it is best that going with the functional point technique, which you can see it, like you understand the complete functionality, and then you will start doing the estimations. So this would be the right and accurate, means nearing to accuracy. Even this is also not 100% accuracy. And that's the reason even we'll be adding the contingency. Whatever you do, but still there would be a certain challenges would be there. You can't give 100% accuracy. So that is what the challenge. Okay. In experience-based technique, so where most of these experience-based techniques will comes into the picture is in terms of bug lifecycle, as we are discussing previously also. Why? Because in SDLC and TCLC, I can do something. There would be, I can, for an example, if I wanted to test a particular application, I derive all my phases of SDLC and TCLC. I can take some functionality and I can do that one. Hey, this will take this much of thing, and then I'll take the average of this one, and then I'll prepare this. But in terms of bugs, at that, because now when we prepare this particular test plan, the test estimations, when we prepare the test estimations before starting the project, right? So now before starting the project, we don't know what category of bugs we'll be getting it. So now what we will try to do is, hey, if it is a high priority, low priority, or medium priority bugs are there. For high priority bugs, low priority bugs, how much, now once again here the bug life cycle comes into the picture. Now bug life cycle for this one is logging. From testing point only I'll be talking about, and then retesting this or reopening this. These are the major phases, right? From the bug life cycle. Fixing those things I'm not considering because that's not part of your the thing. See, for an example, yes, always you remember that. One thing you should always remember. This is a thumb rule. When, for an example, your friend is cooking, can you give the estimations for on behalf of your friends? Always you remember that. Answer is no. When who is doing something, so they should do the estimations, because the velocity, the speed, uniqueness, everything will change person to person. If you're given that particular estimations, then she will come and ask you, who asked you to do this? I take more time or I take less time. So always you remember that you need to give the estimations based upon your scope. On your scope means on QA scope and development scope. Keep one thing in your mind, never give the estimations for the dev teams. Means their work you don't estimate. See, if someone comes and say that, hey, this can be done within half an hour, do it. Will you feel comfortable? See, if it is related to QA, see now your lead will estimate it because you guys are need that one, so that he will be estimating it. So based upon, see, even when a test lead is doing the estimations, always this should be like a teamwork. He need to come and ask everyone, hey, this is what the test case, and for this test case, how much time it will tentatively takes, and this is high level, tentatively this much of test time it will take. Any suggestions, recommendations from you? But can this tester, the QA team can go and give the estimates for the dev team? No. Can dev team come and give the estimates for the QA? Not at all. So always you should remember that whoever doing the work, they should give the estimations. Now that's a reason. Now here I just recollected that point, and that's what I wanted to bring it up. Now the QA activities you need to estimate it. Now for logging a bug, it will take 15 to 20 minutes, means writing the bug name. So I think when you log the bug, you will understand. Bug name, bug description, steps to reproduce, screenshot, and environmental information, all these things, and with the severity and the priority. Okay, so then now you need to come back here. And here you need to come and see that estimations for this one, 15 minutes, and then retesting for this one, probably half an hour, and if at all it required, reopening 5 minutes. Now this is how you will be calculating it. For high level, how much time it will come, for low level, and for the medium level. Once again, because here at least I have the functionality to test it, but here I don't have it. Then what you take is you take the experience based. So previously when I have the bugs, for a high bug, it taken this much of time. For an example, 15 minutes. It includes all these three, and for this one 10 minutes, and for this one 8 minutes. Considering that in the last release, I have 10 means 5 high level, 10 or 15, okay, 10 low medium level, and 15 low level. So now 5 into, sorry, this is 15, right? 15 into 5, 60, 75. So now 10 into 10, 100, and 8 into 5, 18 into 5. So this is 15, right? So that particular value over here. Now the summation of this. Now what is this? This is what our experienced base. Okay. So now here we will be having 75 plus 10 into 100, 15 into 80 comes around 120. So now this all summation of this value 5 plus 2 plus 9, and then 275 divided by 60, and then it was coming around 8 means around 8 hours of time. So now 8 hours we need to keep it for learning. So this is the estimation. So now if you see here, you didn't see that complete general estimation. We also give that estimation for the documents preparations. See, we should have a very clear cut. See, when you plan something very clearly, estimate it very clearly, then you will have a lot of information. Just bring some estimations. See, now we will be preparing certain documents, right? I'll share that particular document if required. So now we will prepare certain documents, right? Test a plan, test a sign off. Even for that one also, you need to give the estimations, right? Because you're doing those documents, because for preparation of a document at least takes 4 hours to 8 hours. Depends upon the complexity of the project. Means test a plan, test a sign off, test a summary report, and all those things you will be preparing, right? So it requires the time for that. But usually we give 40 hours of time for the documentation. That's a general notation. So 40 hours for the document, these particular estimations. So I'll bring one of the sample project, and then I'll try to show. So in that particular project, definitely we will be mentioning that I'm quickly not able to recollect in which documents we'll be keeping it. And where we are seeing the in the automation or this one. So see, you see this general task. In the general task, we take test plan, test summary report, sign off report, miscellaneous, product KTs, framework KTs, demos, and walkthroughs. All these things we keep it as a. So this is how it depends upon the project to project, it will change. But when you have been planned and when you have estimated, you should estimate for everything. If you don't estimate, what is the problem? See, now you have been given 60 hours, but the actual work is 80 hours. Now what you need to do? Bas, you told me that it will be completed by tomorrow. You complete it and give it to me. That's it. Managers are very clever. Now what you need to do? You need to stretch out your complete night to complete that project. So always you remember, you give wrong estimates, you are the sufferer. And not only you, it will make your team also get suffered. So be cautious and careful when you are doing this. Okay, estimations plays a very vital role. Test planning and estimations, if you have the proper test planning and proper estimations, how that would be. It is very simple. You are going for a trip. When you're going for a trip, you planned it very well and you estimated it very well. Means how much budget I need to spend on this one, how the trip would be. You didn't plan a trip, you didn't have the proper estimations, you don't know how much you're keeping, where to keep, how to keep, how it would be. It is a very simple logic. When you wanted to execute a particular project effectively and efficiently, you should have a proper test plan and a proper estimations. And estimations would be the part of your test plan. Got it? Any questions on this?
No.
Okay. Now this is about the discussion on the estimations. Now we wanted to go ahead in terms of test sign off. What do you mean by sign off? Test sign off. Okay, not about test sign off. Normal. What do you mean by sign off?
It's like agreement of conference.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you see some anchors are saying that, hey, I'm signing off. Signing off means closing. Closing something. So, you know, the anchors and everyone after a TV show, they'll be saying that, hey, so-and-so signing off. So signing off is nothing but it is done. It's about to close off. So now this can be called as a closure document, test closure or a signing document. So now what are the things we wanted to keep when you wanted to close a particular testing? So that is what we wanted to see now. So now in the planning, we remember, right? So now what are the things we wanted to do? So those all things you will be saying that, hey, I'll be doing my project overview, reviewer history, revision history, and we'll be having in scope, out scope, entry criteria, exit criteria, estimations, dependencies, assumptions, risk, contingencies, risk mitigation plans. So some advanced documents will have risk mitigation plans also. We discussed only dependencies and risk, right? So even some documents will have that one. And then what are the deliverables we'll be doing it, and what are the resources in these resources has been worked on it, and what are the tools we have been worked on it, and what are the platforms or the environments we have been worked on it, and the resources information, and then documents. That is what the contents in your test plan, right? Now, when it comes to the testing closure, we will be having certain informations like this. You guys are able to see the screen? Now, this would be your closure document. Okay. So in the closure document, we'll be having release overview. Hey, now see, when we are using release, all done. Now we are going for the release. So now when you're going for that particular release, that release closure. So now what is the background of that particular project? And what is this particular document objective? What are my deliverables on this? And what is my revision history and reviewer history? And what is my test coverage? See guys, wherever you go in your testing life, these words will not leave you. Test coverage, regression testing, functional testing, smoke testing. So these terminologies will not leave you. Always remember that. Everyone will question you how you will validate your test coverage. This is very, very important. See, if you don't have the proper test coverage, whatever you do, the automation, those things are really waste. Mark my word. In any of the interviews, if he is a really good interviewer, definitely he will talk about the test coverage. Okay, coming to the types of testing into the test coverage, he'll talk from the testing coverage point of view and what are the type of testings we have been done. And now, what are our exit criteria? So exit criteria, because we are closing this. Now, what are my criteria to close this particular project? And what are my recommendations or suggestions? For this particular project, what else I can give my recommendations and suggestions from the testing point of view? And what the lesson we have been learned? What are the lessons we have learned on this? And then what is a testing outage? Testing outage means we have power outage. That's very frequent in our state now, right? Power outage means when the power is gone and then we got it. Hey, 4 o'clock it gone. We got it at 6 o'clock. 2 hours power shut. So now the same way, when the applications are not working, so they're suspended. When testing is suspended and when the testing is resumed, because there would be testing delay, right? See, because if the application is not working, is it responsibility of a QA to get delayed? No, because application is not working, then what else anyone can do? And always you remember one thing, there is a very bad habit in the industry that, for an example, 1 to 15, we wanted to release on 15th. The development need to be completed by Friday, which is on 8th, so that it can be come from 11th, so that it required 5 days of testing so that we can release on 15th. This is the plan. If the development team given on 8th, but still we are not able to deliver on 15th, then this is definitely a QA weak problem. Either they have done wrong estimations, or either the resources are not capable enough of completing the particular work. But if the development team has been given on 12th, can we complete by 15th? Is this a problem with the testing team?
No.
No.
No. See now, from 12th you calculate 5 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The problem here is from the development team. It's not that, hey, we need to go by 15th, it got on 12th, so that I need to complete the work within 3 days. You can compromise on the quality?
No.
Never. You should have the guts to stand up and say that you promised to give me at 8th, you're promising to give me, you're giving me at 11th. There is a delay of 2 days. The testing timelines also will be delayed by 2 days. No, I need to go by 15th. Why 15th? You go by 13th also. But don't ask me for the quality. If you want quality, I require 5 days. What else I can do? I need to complete within 15. That's a good thing. We plan it with 3 resources. You give me 3 more resources so that we complete within 15. Sometimes this is feasible. Not all times. If I given more resources, can you complete the work? No. And okay, can you work on this Saturday and Sunday to complete this one? No, why I should work on? See, I promised to work on 15th and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's my family time. Why I need to spend on this? Not at all. Once, it's a really critical issues that we need to fix it up, and once or twice for the company, definitely you can do it, but not all the time. And it is not encouraged. Always you remember one thing. If you're staying in your work for more than 8 hours or 12 hours or 15 hours, the people will recognize them as the best employees. But to me, what I feel is they are incapable of working within 8 hours. So that's the reason they're working for 12 hours or 15 hours. Why should, if you properly estimated your work, properly taken your work, why should you need to work more than 8 hours for a company? Not really required, right? Anything. If you properly planned, if your planning is problem and you are not incapable of filling that particular work, then you'll work for 10 hours, 15 hours per day. That's your problem, not company's problem. But encouraging that kind of attitude is not at all good. Always you need to remember this particular point. Why? Because these all things revolves around your estimations. That's the most important factor which you need to remember. And once this is how the testing outage will be calculated. Now, defect status. What is the list? Means what is our final bug status? Means how many bugs are there? How many bugs reported? Those all information will be discussing in the bugs. Means how many bugs we identified in this? How many were closed? How many were open? How many were deferred? What do you mean by deferred? What do you mean by deferred?
Bugs will be
Like
open
if we are unable to,
will be fixed by next.
Saujanya, go on mute. I have a lot of background noise.
like if we are, it's not like after discussing with the QA team, the developers, if it is not an emergency, the bug to resolve, then we'll put it in as a defer. Then we'll
You need
solving
to-
after.
use terminology as well. So if it is based on not emergency, it's a priority. So based
Yes,
upon the
priority.
priority of the bug, so now it may fix in the next version or next release. Then that is called deferred from this. So now here we will be talking from the point of that, what is the number of bugs we identified and what is that particular release, identified number of bugs and how many closed the state and open the state, and then that would be carried out in that particular procedure. And all the issues description and known issues descriptions and what are your observations, you're writing it. And who all work for this particular project and the document approvals. So these are the things which you'll be having as part of test closure. Always you remember that doing a project is good, but doing a documentation for a project is the best. In market, we don't have the people who are doing the documentations, because once you left, what you have did there, how we will know that? The most important thing is the people will not understand the importance of the documentations. They should understand it, because once you left, we will be having the data is the only important source to backtrack and then see what the things happen in that releases. So always you remember and understand the importance of the documents which you are going to prepare. Documentation is the most important thing, and this will give you a lot of information on the data metrics. Okay, so however, we will be continuing on this particular document. So what you meant by signing off document? Just we have been discussed only the index. We'll go point by point and then try to understand what is test disclosure or test sign off document. Okay, so I'm just stopping the session here because I need to jump for a meeting now. So let's catch back on Monday